Hello.
Hello.
Hello. You have to say very calmly. We can't alert the dogs that we are speaking to anyone.
Exactly.
They cannot know, so we have to do like the NPR voices and be just very calm.
ASMR.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
My screechy voice is not ASMR friendly. I would never have an ASMR
You
channel.
don't
They'd
have
be
a-
like,
You don't have a screechy voice.
we don't want to hear that.
In fact, right now you've been sick, so you have more of a deep, like a little bit of a raspier voice.
I have the husky
Mm-hmm.
1-900 hot phone operator voice.
Oh, is that what it sounds like?
I don't know.
Hello.
I'm thinking of the 80s and the 90s.
What can I
Remember
do
those
for...
datelines you'd call? Not that I would call it as a kid.
Sure.
But they have the commercials on to call at like 1 in the morning.
Or remember when they had like the commercials for the... Did you ever go on the talk lines? I was a little too young for that, but I remember hearing the commercials for it where you like literally would call the number and it would be other kids.
It's a party line.
Other kids just hanging out, talking to each other.
I bet it was where all the child molesters hung out. Let's be real. If they were advertising it toward kids, it was all a bunch of creepers.
Anyway, guys, what is happening? It's Sunday, back to our regularly scheduled programming. We had a special late Sunday show last week for New Year's Eve, but now we were in the new year. We were officially a week into the new year.
I know.
Hello, everybody. Oh, it's a flip. You don't want to hear the dog alarm because it's a bit much.
It's a bit obnoxious.
Yeah, it's cute for half a second, not even that. Anyway, we are here. We're excited. We've had quite the week. You're finally feeling mostly better.
I am.
You were sick for a couple of weeks. If
I
not
was sick
more.
for like 3 solid weeks. It's been almost 4 weeks now.
Yeah, but we were
But
like,
I'm better. I've been better this week. I still sound kind of crappy, but I feel a lot better.
but we like yesterday. So this has been like a serious sourcing weekend. First of all, you guys, we're gonna have 2 haul videos coming out this week. So you'll hear more about this if you watch those. Probably come out Tuesday and Thursday. But this has been like a serious sourcing weekend for us, and overall, it was fan-freaking-tastic. We pushed our luck today and went to the bins again this morning, and it was not so great. But you should definitely watch those videos because we found a bunch of great stuff, a ridiculous amount of stuff. It was just really,
a good sourcing
really good.
weekend. So if you watch Mikey Bags of Money, you may have seen us in his Friday Live. We decided to go with our friend Britt and meet up at the new Goodwill that had the grand opening here on Friday. I didn't stand in line for an hour and a half like some people to be there when it opened in the morning because it was 40 degrees and cold, and I don't stand in line for an hour and a half for anything anymore.
Not even a $5 coupon?
Not even a $5 coupon. However, we went to go surprise him. He went back and did his live from there Friday night, and so we hung out there for a little bit. We all ended up getting some stuff. We talk about that in our haul. And then we went to the bins yesterday.
Well, we went to the bins yesterday morning, and it was so good. Again, you guys are going to want to watch the videos. It was so good yesterday that we ended up staying there until almost 11. We were there for almost 3 hours, and then we went and ran a bunch of errands, and then we ended up going to another thrift store, and then we went out last night. And I remember like sometime mid-afternoon, I asked you how you were feeling, and you weren't feeling great, but you weren't like beyond exhausted like you've been. Like
Right.
you had.
I had to take a nap before dinner last night.
But you were
whatever
okay.
this cold thing is, what it's done is like sapped me from all my energy. So we went out to dinner last night with Mike and Courtney. Super Court.
Our new favorite
Mikey
Thai
Bag-
restaurant, which we
Bags of
introduced
Money.
them to, and they loved it. So
We had a good time. We hadn't gotten together in like several months. We fairly regularly hang out with them, and we hadn't seen them in a while. Actually, I don't think we've seen them since the remix. Especially because Christmas was canceled over here, and they usually come Christmas
Yeah.
Eve to our open house. Anywho,
Lori, I haven't posted those because I just filmed them yesterday and today. The haul part of them we just filmed today, so those won't come out until Tuesday and Thursday. But seriously, we got some really good stuff like yesterday after the bins. Like we were both, especially me but Vicky too. I was on like such a sourcing high because you know when you go like last weekend we went to the bins both days. We've kind of gotten to where we're sourcing mostly on the weekends. And which works, but last weekend both days were just kind of okay, and it's like it can be such a grind. Like speaking of like the topic of today's show, or at least what I have the title as, maintaining focus and motivation. When you're like, you have to source, you have to, if you are like us, and you have to be regularly sourcing, and you're not just doing it because it's funsies. you have those days where you're not finding much, and then it becomes kind of a grind. And
Well,
it's
and
like,
yeah, it's a time suck and it's an energy suck. So, I mean, we've got a couple things in the chat I want to address. So, Tommy in Seattle first and 40 in Vegas. Yeah, it's like 48 degrees right now and it is 2 o'clock. So, we are at the peak of the day. So, it's as hot as it's going to get today. This is very, very normal. December, January, and into mid-February, it is cold in Vegas. We are high desert. So, which means that while it doesn't get freezing during the day, at night we're definitely in the low 30s this time of the year, and we've got a little bit of a cold snap this week. It's been a little bit cold. It was a really nice New Year's Day.
It's super windy today.
But it's also really windy, and this is very normal for this time of the year here, and it's cold at night. Because there's no moisture in the air, because we have no humidity, that feel is way lower than that 48 degrees. It feels like it's in the 30s. It's bitter. And I see Paula in the chat, and Happy New Year to you, my friend. And Allison in the chat. Allison, we're going to see in just a few months. We are going on the Reseller cruise. It is not a boss cruise. It is not a business cruise. We're not teaching you anything. It just is what it is. We got together with our friend Lori, who's in the chat. Lori is a travel agent, and she has just gotten us group pricing so that people that like to cruise or want to try to cruise and just hang out with their reseller friends are welcome to come. There are still a few cabins that are available. The cruise is not sold out, but I do believe we don't have the group rate available anymore. I think that ran out yesterday.
Yeah.
But if you wanted to come, it's not an expensive cruise.
Yeah.
It's just it's out of Long Beach, California. You're welcome to send us a message and we'll get you the information. It's out of Long Beach, and it leaves April 29th, I believe.
Yeah, it does.
It's just a 5-day. Ensenada, Catalina Island. If you're a cruiser, you know that little loop. But it was more just for us to get together and hang out. So it'll be fun.
Yep.
And yeah, what else is there? Oh, and I saw that Susie, in it to flip it, was also sad about Ripley's ear hair. So I appreciate the commiseration.
I think she looks cute with her hair trimmed.
I appreciate the commiseration because I cried. I really did.
Oh, Lori says, first of all, Paula, RSV for over 3 weeks. Yuck.
I feel like that's what I had, although I was never tested. It's quite possible. Yeah. The flu, I don't know what it was. It wasn't COVID. Yeah. That's all I know. I didn't go to the doctor.
Somehow I got away with only feeling sick for one day, but that was good because I was taking care of Vikki. So
somebody needs to take care. I'm a super
she's
whiny,
very high maintenance when she's sick.
Whiny. I'm a man. I am a whiny, sick person.
Yeah. And I'm like, if I'm like really sick, I just want to be alone and quiet. But Lori says that we do have some special pricing still available.
Yeah, she has group pricing that she can get just through her travel agency in general because they tend to have blocks reserved under that pricing.
Yeah.
So if you are interested, you absolutely should reach out to us. We'll put you in touch with Lori, or you could reach out to Lori directly. But if you're not Facebook friends with her, it's easier for us to make the connection. This is not something that's not a money-making cruise. We're not making any money on this. We are just extending the group rate for you guys to join us because we were doing all those travel vlogs and we were cruising so much last year. We're like, hey, let's just do a fun one. So we have, I think, 20 or 21 cabins booked. They're not all double occupancy, but most. I think there's going to be about 40 of us going. And most of us...
I'm sure there'll be some people that will book last minute.
Yeah, and then most of us are resellers. And I actually have some friends that are not resellers that are coming because they just want to come and hang out with us. So we won't be doing any content, but I do know that we're doing this in conjunction with Molly from Consignment Chats. So Molly and I are going to come up with a scavenger hunt for the cruise. We're going to be designing some t-shirts and merch that you guys can purchase if you're interested. We're just going to be sending it to you guys, giving the links at cost. We're not trying to make any money on this. It's just for funsies.
Yeah.
And we're definitely going to be planning some cocktail or dinner group set specific times so that we can all get together. Because once you're actually on the boat, it gets really difficult to communicate sometimes. So we'll make sure that we have everything posted in advance so that we can all get together and hang out. So
Allison's calling dibs on our spare room. I think we've already booked you, Allison.
You're already booked, Allison.
We're road tripping from Vegas to LA together, so that's going to be really fun. Anyway, let's get into our regular show. So this is our Sunday show. We break it into 3 parts. The first part, we look at our real numbers, our gross numbers across all our platforms for the last week, from last Sunday through yesterday. And then the middle part of our show, we look at our sales highlights for the week, some of the good, cool stuff we've sold, or interesting or educational. And then the last part, with this new version of the show, I guess we've been doing this for a few months now. We talk about kind of what we've accomplished in the last week or not accomplished in the last week, and then any goals that we want to set or things that we're hoping to do in the next week and beyond. Of course, we're into the new year now, and as we've been talking about frequently over the last couple of months, Vicki and I have both been making some pretty big changes to kind of how we run our businesses, and so we'll talk about how that's going, what adjustments we might be wanting to make, but yeah.
Lori, thank you. That's very sweet. Lori has been working really hard. I know not a lot, most of the people that are attending and going on this cruise have cruised before, so it's not all brand new, but some people have not. And cruising and choosing the information and getting the information all together can be a little confusing and daunting. So it is really nice to have a travel agent helping us. Our reseller friend, Lori, I wish she was coming on the cruise because I still have yet to meet you in person.
Yeah.
But it's really helpful. And just so you guys know, she's not even making a commission on this. She's like doing the agency minimum of like $10 a person or something. And it's several hours of work that she's done. And we really appreciate her time and her effort in putting this together for us. So thank you, Lori. We do appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll actually cover that in the last part of the show, because I want to talk some about like our numbers and like what our goals are and stuff like that. But we'll definitely talk about like when we started doing our kind of how we're doing it now and kind of get more into that.
Oh, hi, Stacy.
Hey, Stacy, what's happening?
Okay, so we've got about 68 people watching, I see now.
Hello.
Thanks for tuning in on Sunday. And yeah, we'll go over our numbers first, and then we'll show you some of our sales highlights.
Let's get into it. Allison, I don't know if they have a white party on this ship.
Well, I'm going to have to take a look. I'll have to join one of the Facebook groups and see what type of theme nights they have.
Yeah.
Every cruise has some kind of theme night, whether they do a glow party or an 80s party or a 70s party or whatever. You don't have to dress up, but you know us, we're extra, and we want to have fun and do that stuff.
It's true. All right, let's get into the numbers, guys. So mine, nothing crazy. I had 19 eBay orders, 9 Etsy, 2 Poshmark, and then 4 between Grail, Mercari, and Depop. Nothing private. So a total of 34 going out. It's okay. eBay, decent. My numbers have been going up. So I'm looking forward to like the first time in a long time getting to 2,000 in gross sales on eBay over a week. Hasn't happened in a really long time, but I'm at $1,150.97. Etsy, I had a decent week, $668.81. Poshmark, I didn't have any sales for a long time on there, and then I finally had a couple, so $95, and then Grail, Mercari, Depop together, $212. So my total gross sales a little over 2,000, which is okay. I mean, I definitely had some weeks in 2023 where I was like barely hitting 1,500 in my gross sales. So I am grateful to be over 2,000. So 2,126.78. My shipping, 122.05. You can see the breakdown of my fees there. Cost of goods.
That's where I just want to like look at how much your cost of goods have come down.
I know.
So
yeah,
your net,
huge difference.
Your net profit is so much better than it was before, even on that same gross amount.
Very, very true. And that's the thing I have to remember. Like when we looked at our numbers for the year last Sunday, you know, yes, my sales have went way down in 2023. They really tanked, and a lot of that was my own fault. Both of us taking too long to like catch up to how much the landscape has changed in reselling. But a big thing that I did do is bring down my cost of goods. And so my total net sales, $1,682.06. My gross sales pretty good. I used to try to hit 70. Now that I've kind of changed the way I do things, my goal is to try to get at least $50 in my gross, but 50 to 60, but 62.55 is great. Net average sale price, $49.47.
That's really good.
Take note of my total outgoing orders of 34. I want to talk about that more at the end of the show when we get to the third part of our show, but 34 outgoing orders. Let's check out Vicki's numbers.
So I really was cranking all through November and December, and I will say right after the first, my sales kind of came a little bit screeching halt. I know that's very normal this time of the year. People are just recovering from Christmas, and you know, it takes time for the sales to start rolling in again. So I had 32 orders on eBay, 10 on Etsy, 7 on Poshmark. My Poshmark is on life support lately. I don't know what's happening. Mercari's always been hit or miss, and just a couple there. So I had 50 total going out. I did not have any private sales, although I did do my first live sale on the district the previous week, but we didn't talk about those numbers last week. So that was fun, and I'll definitely do that again. So 1563 on eBay gross, real bad. That's like the lowest I've been in a while. 708 on Etsy, which is a good week. 270 on Poshmark, meh, crap. One sale on Mercari for $22, total garbage. So just about 2564 total gross sales for the week. Not a terrible week, but not a great week, right? 268 for shipping, and then you see the breakdown of the fees. And again, my cost of goods is always relatively low. $119 total cost of goods. My total net sales, $1870 and change. And my gross average sale price, much like Katie, I talk about this, I like to keep my average sale price between 50 and 60 because my cost of goods are so low. Some weeks, most of the weeks I get it. So at 51.28 is right in that sweet spot, and my net average sale price, 37.41. So not a fantastic week, but again, not terrible for the first week of the new year.
Yeah, for sure. And like I said, we're going to get more into kind of like what that looks like, how we're feeling, where we're going with the direction of our businesses, and what we're going to be trying to do over the next week and stuff. But first,
let's see, answer a question for Tommy. So Tommy, my store has 4,700 items, or just under 4,700 items. What's nice is because of this process and things that I've been doing recently, I cannot seem to hit 4,700 again. I am selling almost as much as I am listing, and that is where you want to be, right? And that's really where you want to be. So I'm not listing quite as many things as I was before, although I'm close. I'm still doing about 100 items a week.
Yeah.
And on eBay, it's just not creeping up a ton, which is good. And then I do not do Posh lives. My items are 90% vintage, and I just don't have the market to sell on Posh in that manner. I'm also not interested in selling anything at all for like $5 or $10. So live sales in general, whether it's Whatnot or Poshmark, it's not my jam.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in doing high volume, low margins because there's no need for me to do that. I don't need to churn and burn. I'm not buying pallets. It totally works for some people, and I'm not knocking that business model. There's nothing wrong with that. But for me, my profit margins are so high on the items that I get. I'm not looking to make a $3 or $5 profit on something when I can make a $50 profit on it.
Michelle, that is the way things are with Mercari. It's like, it sucks, and then it doesn't suck just enough for you to keep going with it. And it's such a small amount of time to cross-post to Mercari that it's like, I can't. So many times I've been like, ugh, why do I even bother? But it keeps working.
Yeah, I think those live trains and those sales trains are just bullshit, to be honest with you. I have no interest in ever doing that. I'm never going to do a live Posh sale. It's just never going to happen.
Yep.
But anyway, Crystal, it's nice to see you in the chat.
Hi,
I
Crystal.
miss you and Angel.
Okay, let's go ahead and look at our sales highlights for the last week. Again, this was from last Sunday through last night. What do you got? What's this?
This was a bins buy, so I probably paid $3 or $4 for this based on weight. I honestly can't remember if I got this in Colorado, if I got it here, but it was a bins buy. So I paid $3 or $4 for it, and it sold for the price you see there, $85 and change. It was just a really nice, heavy knit sweater dress. It's like wool and acrylic, probably a blend, big metal zipper up the back. Let's see if you can show that in one of the photos. That's a good indicator of decade. It was just this really nice, very well made, basic dress. I think that would look good on anyone. So nothing super exciting about it style wise, but it was really nicely made.
Yeah. All right. This is a t-shirt that I got when we were in Colorado. I actually got it from our friends Angela and Lisa. Angelisa, as we like to call them. They gave me a few t-shirts, just stuff that they had that they thought I'd be able to sell better. And it was really exciting to get free inventory. And this one was really cool. I love this one because it's a Greek unity, like a fraternity, sorority t-shirt, but specifically for Black African-American sororities and fraternities from Greek Fest 1990. I love stuff like this because it's just a really interesting piece of history.
It's so obscure. Like, who finds this and says, I need to have this? Like, clearly, it's someone that belongs to one of those sororities or fraternities.
Exactly.
But like, how would you find it? Like, that's the thing. Like, how do you find, like, what would you be searching for that you would find this?
I don't know, but I always pick up anything fraternity or sorority related, and sometimes it takes a while to sell, but it always sells. But I had listed this within, what we were there in November.
Yep.
So it didn't take too long. I had
Like
sent out
6 weeks.
I had sent out, multiple offers when I list something for $97.99. I always send out offers of my lowest kind of sale price. And somebody offered me $60, and I'm like, you know what? Close enough, because that's one of the things I'm working on, guys. Is accepting offers that are a little lower than what I normally would, because it's like $60. I didn't pay anything for this. $60. Took it, and I was happy to.
This one took a little bit to sell. I did pick this up at the bins in Colorado, I believe, but this was one of my earlier trips. So I think I probably had this one for this might have been January of last year. So I may have had this for a solid year. It may not have been listed that whole time. It probably took me a few months to get it listed because I, don't get everything listed in the first week. So I had an offer on this for $95. Who sends an offer for $4.96 off? I was like, yes, I will.
Yes, I will take that.
Yes, I will take the $95 offer plus shipping. I just really liked that I was able to rescue this. It says right in the title, listed for rescue. It had a lot of issues, lots of clear photographs and descriptions. I've already received positive feedback on it. The customer loved it, but I was perfectly happy to let it go for $95. I mean, that's a very solid offer.
Absolutely. All right, next up we have this awesome SeaWorld jacket, and I don't know why it's showing $139.99. I mean, that was my original price, but it was on sale for $97.99. And then they must have, it's like it sold for $69.99. I guess they must have offered me that. But anyway, I got this at the bins. It's just a 90s SeaWorld jacket. And it's got the little Shamu on the back. It's just a tiny little Shamu.
Katie hates SeaWorld.
I do. I'll sell the stuff, but I would never go to SeaWorld. Sorry, I have convictions and I refuse to go to a place like that. Anyway, but I will sell the stuff for sure. And I sold it for $69.99. And again, I got it at the bins. And stuff like this is the stuff that other people will pass over, especially like the t-shirt bros and stuff like that. It always sells well for me, and I've maybe paid like $3-4 for it. So I'll take $70 every day.
Absolutely. Okay, this is actually from the closeout from List Perfectly's store, the clothing vault that Clara and Amanda used to have. And when they went full-time into List Perfectly, they didn't need their inventory anymore. So I was able to acquire a lot of their old inventory. Now, mind you, I've had this for quite a while. I got that inventory in October of 2020. It was all listed by the end of the year in 2020. So I've had this for quite a while. It's big, it's heavy, it's vintage. However, vintage sometimes takes time to sell. And I did accept an offer on this for $100. I still have some of these. I maybe have 15 to 20 items left from that original 500 item acquisition. So I accepted an offer on this for $100, and yeah, it'll be going out tomorrow. Actually, it sold yesterday.
Nice. All right, next up, this is another item I got for free. So we were in Colorado, and Ryan Roots told me that he had some motocross t-shirts, vintage motocross t-shirts that they had gotten a bunch of them and tried selling them on their whatnot shows. And when they realized they were only selling for like maybe $10, he was like, forget it. I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm just going to give them to Katie because she can actually make some real money off of them. And so he sent me 4 t-shirts. He mailed them to me after we were in Colorado. And he sent me, I had 2 of these, and this is the first one to sell, and I sold it. I did not sell it for the price there. I priced it really high because this particular one's from the 80s, and it's just there's not any other ones out there like it. I don't think there's any ATK stuff out there. And Tommy's saying in the chat that he's still amazed at some of the offers, like people like lowballing when it's like the original price is so high. But I price them high at first, but it's like I paid $0 for this, and so honestly, it doesn't bother me when people send me low offers, because a lot of times, because I know what I actually paid for something, it works just fine for me. And so somebody offered me $85. So again, like originally, quote unquote, $199.99, but that wasn't what I was wanting to actually get for it. And so somebody's sending me an offer for $85. I'm like, heck yeah. And because I have 2 of them in my inventory, now it's got the one sold, one left, and it's probably higher in the search. And hopefully I can sell the other one for at least, I'd say like 75 is what I'd like to get. But again, it only took like inventory. A little over a month to sell, and I made $85. I was very excited about that.
This one also took a bit to sell. I actually purchased this at an estate sale where I purchased an entire table lot in California. So I want to say I've had this for about 2 years. However, it didn't sell for the price you see there, but it did sell for $175 on an offer. This is dress, and this I probably could have sold it several times over in the last couple of years if I had let it go for a little less. But the reality is this is such a stunning piece, and I've never had one like this, that I was not willing to let it go too cheaply. It has this beautiful skirt that comes on or off. And with the marabou feathers, it's gorgeous. And it was in impeccable condition.
I think Crystal photographed this.
Yeah, for sure.
You can tell she did such a great job.
Yeah, for sure she did. And it was just beautiful. So there was no way I wanted to let it go any cheaper. And it finally sold. Yep. So I was perfectly happy with 175. I probably would have taken 150. But that was as low as I was willing to go on it. So that's why it sat for a while. There are certain pieces that I'm just not willing to let go too cheaply.
Yep. All right, guys, this is a fun one. So the Saturday before the remix, like the Sunday, we were heading to the hotel and leaving the house for over a week. And so Saturday we went out to eat, and I dropped my phone and cracked it. And you can see right there, and immediately like half the screen went freaking crazy. And I had to replace my phone. And normally when I replace my phone, I want to do the trade-in, I want to get the value, but because the screen was broken, they weren't going to take it. So I could have spent a couple $100 to replace the screen and try to sell it, but I'm like, I'm going to see if I can just sell it with the screen broken. Guys, I could never be a phone seller on eBay. It was seriously the worst thing ever to sell. First, I tried doing it at auction. I ran it through an auction 3 different times, sold it all 3 times. Nobody ever paid. I don't really understand what the game is with I don't get it. Why are all these people bidding on something that they're not going to pay for? I get 1 time, but it's happened 3 times. So then I put it up 3 times with a price with best offer. Sold it 3 times. All 3 times I had the message on the screen that said, as soon as you accept this, they will be charged immediately.
Charge the buyer immediately.
Somehow I cannot figure, and they never were international buyers. Every time it was like a US address, and every time I accepted, and once again I had to wait another 4 days, and they didn't pay. I don't understand why it happens that way. I do not get it. So then finally I was like, all right, I'm listing it just to buy it now, and no offer available. And what happened, I got a bazillion messages, people asking if they could offer less, and I basically just said, leave me alone. And it finally sold, and they paid. I sold it for $97.99, and I could not get it out of the house fast enough. And now they're probably going to be like, it's broken, I want to return it, even though I have it on there for parts and not working. But seriously, I'm like, I could not imagine if you regularly sold like refurbished like phones or anything like that. Oh, it was just like,
the buyers are the worst.
Ridiculous. But seriously, why didn't they have to pay? Why? It said they would pay immediately. Why, guys? Why? I can't ever do it again.
All right, so I see Jay, Flippin' Jaybird in there. By the way, Jay, we have our reseller meetup here next Saturday, so hopefully you're back in town and you can finally come to one.
Yeah.
Check the local Facebook group, the meetup Facebook group. We'd love to see you. Okay, so this was a bins buy. I honestly don't know where, at this point now, I don't know whether I got it in Vegas or California or Colorado. Sometimes I remember, sometimes I don't. I haven't had this for very long. I've only had it listed for a few weeks maybe. And this is one I'm always telling people, don't sleep on lingerie or sleepwear.
Don't sleep on sleep.
Don't sleep on the sleepwear. But this I paid, maybe $2 for. Lands of Salzburg is a solid seller every single time. I'm going to get between $45 and $65 for a flannel nightgown.
Ridiculous.
Every time. They're not pretty, but they are sure as hell very comfortable and warm, and that's why people like them.
What's up, Liz O'Kane?
Hello, Liz O'Kane.
You missed everything.
Happy couple days after your birthday.
Mm-hmm. It's true, old lady.
She's still older than both of us.
Yep.
She's a whopping 6 months older than me, so
Yeah, so like 10 years older than me. You can't make fun of Liz's age and then act so offended when I make fun of you.
I just said she was 6 months older than me, so that clearly is making fun of my own age.
All right, next for me, I had a good week on Etsy. I had multi orders, which was awesome. Sold some stuff for some great prices. Very excited about. So this shirt, not that long ago, maybe a month ago, I bought a bunch of stuff at yesterday's Fits, and one thing I bought was probably about 5 or 6 of these cop racing shirts. Apparently, it's this thing like Racers Against Impaired Driving. It's like this cop racing thing.
What the heck is that?
But they have really cool graphics, and so I snatched them all up. I think I paid like $5 a piece for them. And this is the first one I've sold so far, and I sold it for $62.99. But I thought it was pretty cool. I like the graphics on them. Apparently, cops like to race, so I don't know.
All right.
But sold for $62.99.
This is just another let me talk about linens once again. I picked these up in Colorado at the bins. So the bins there, the linens prices are 49 cents a pound. And this is probably 3 pounds because it's a full set of sheets and they're heavy. Here's the thing, sheets that you purchase now, unless you're spending really big money, they do not wash and wear and feel as nice as vintage sheets. That's why people still like vintage bedding. It's made better, just like everything else. The clothing is made better. The sheets are made better. The materials are better. So these were listed for, I don't know, a week and a half. This was my last trip. I got these. So they were listed for like a week and a half or a month and a half, 2 months tops. And they sold for $64 plus shipping. So the buyer paid $9 shipping, but I probably paid $1.50.
Nice.
So if you can find a full set of sheets, even the flat sheets or the fitted sheets. I mean, I sell singles for whatever, but those were a great buy, and they're just a full size. And nobody has a full size bed anymore, but people still buy the sheets.
Well, and I think there are a lot of people out there who are doing repurposing and doing stuff. It's really great old fabric.
Oh, so, Jill had those sheets in high school, she said. Yeah, they're really pretty and soft. I mean, I love, if I find them in king size, we actually have a king size set of vintage sheets. I found a package dead stock, and I love them. I kind of skeeve used bedding. I won't use it on my own bed. It doesn't make any sense because I sleep in hotels. Yeah. However, it's a thing. So.
Calling back to my phone, Kathleen says, I'll just let my heirs deal with the drawer full of old tech.
It's true.
That's pretty funny.
Oh, Kelly, hip flipping mama in the house. I haven't seen you in a minute. Hello, my friend.
What's happening? All right, next up for me, look at these pants, guys. Look at how cool they are.
Wee!
So, they got the wee! I got these at yesterday's Fits. I paid maybe $5 for them. They were super, they were pretty worn, and they were pretty small, and they got this, like, Velcro going on in the front. But I got them, and I don't think I've had them listed for all that long, maybe a couple of months. But I love the pattern on them, and I sold them for $62.99, and they went to Canada, eh? So somebody in Canada is some skinny boy in Canada is gonna be looking real cool in these pants when he's going wee.
I may have some queen listed. I don't think I have any king listed, Jay. But yeah, if you take a look, the links to our stores are down below. Please know that if you are a watcher of this show or one of our friends, you are not going to pay those retail prices. So if there's anything that you see that you like ever, just hit us up and you'll get a better deal.
Yeah, for sure.
You buy offline, obviously. I'm not giving eBay the fees on that.
Yeah. All right.
This I picked up at the bins when I was there in, I'm not sure when, with Kristen, Whirl Squirrel, and Liz. I got this in Colorado. I can't remember when I picked it up. One of the times when I was there earlier this year. I actually wore this at the Reseller Remix this year on our Fremont crawl night. It was just this big poofy rainbow tutu. It's a really nice one the way it was made. It's like 3 or 4 layers, which I love. But it weighs like next to nothing. So it weighs like a pound, under a pound, because it's tulle. So it's super light, even though it's big and bulky. And it sold, I didn't list it until after the remix. It was only listed for a couple of months, and it sold for $64.
Nice. All right, next up, this was actually in a multi-order of 3 things. I sold for over $200 total. I actually really love this sweatshirt. It's, I think it was dead stock. It was like brand new. I really like these kind of like naturey destination items, and I didn't want to sell it for too cheap because look at how awesome the graphic is, and it's front and back. So I have had this for a while. I probably could have let it go for a little bit less, but it sold for $62.99. You can see it's on that Screen Stars tag. Which usually a lot of times that Screen Stars tag is early 90s, but sometimes you will see it on stuff from the 80s, and right there you can see 1986. But look at how awesome it is. It's so majestic. Anyway, $62.99. I maybe paid like $5 for it. Yes, dear?
Oh, I was going to say, before you switch, I just wanted to answer Stacy's question. Do you pay to promote listings on Etsy? Neither one of us do. We have in the past, and what we did is we evaluated it at the end of the year last year and the year before, and realized that the amount that we were paying to promote was ridiculous for the return. The pay to click was the return was not there. Now on eBay, we definitely pay to promote everything. Not pay, but we use promoted listings. We don't do pay per click.
I will say though, on Etsy, we are required. We do have to pay for any listings, anything that sells from Google offsite ads. Because they made that change like last year or the year before, where they
like
basically,
3 years ago,
whatever. If you had sold over a certain amount, like $10,000 the previous year, you were basically forced to.
You're forced into
it.
But you're paying 12% on, and everyone else is paying 15%.
Yeah. But honestly, like they send you the reports and stuff. It doesn't happen that often, and I'm like, whatever. I don't really care.
I think I checked the entire 2023. I think I had 10 listings sell.
Yeah.
From Google Ads.
But it's like overall, both of our items sell for more on Etsy than they do on, say, eBay. So the extra 12% is not really painful. It's like whatever.
And again, it's pretty infrequent.
Yep, absolutely. All right.
So this was a recent purchase. This was also a bins purchase. This may or may not have been from Colorado. Again, it's starting to blur together for me.
I know.
But this was not in perfect condition. So you'll see I put in there that TLC in the title. I put it in there that there was, there's a lot of pulls on it. And I really like rescuing items that are well made, because you just know that someone is going to take care of it. But it was very explicit about the condition, and you can see that actually my review for it right there. Great description and fast shipping. So what I wanted to say is, just because something is damaged does not mean that it is not worth selling.
Right.
And that's the biggest takeaway on this. I buy almost all Asian kimonos or robes that I find, because the embroidery and the style and the design on them are all so beautiful. Not the cheap, fast-made AliExpress, Amazon crap. Not those, but I buy the ones that you can tell are heavily embroidered, or the jacquard fabric, or a lot of them are silk. This is satin, not silk, but they're really nice, and they sell very well, especially when they're vintage.
Listen, I sell a lot of stuff that has flaws, whether it's stains or holes or a number of different issues, but I'm always super transparent about it and just make sure they know exactly what they're getting. And there's a reason why I went like a good 3+ years on eBay without having a single negative. And the one negative I have right now is just because the person bought on the app, and on the app it does not show. You have to click through to get to the condition description, which is ridiculous, because that's exactly where I put like what the flaws are, and they shouldn't have to click through to be able to see that.
People don't read.
Had they looked at the pictures, I'm like, so whatever, it is what it is. But overall, people are always happy with what I send them, because they know that it has flaws and they're expecting it.
That too, Crystal. Perfect for Chinese New Year. You're right, and that's coming up. I think that's early February or sometime in January. So Anna has a question there. Can anyone tell me how to get to a hold of eBay Concierge? At the top of your page of your Seller Hub, you're going to click on Help and Contact. So if you click on Help and Contact and scroll down toward the bottom, especially if you have Concierge, you're going to see on that page there's going to be a way for you to message, send an email, or request a call back. You're going to want to do that, but don't do it until tomorrow, because Concierge staff is not what's working on the weekends. You're going to get the outsourced staff. So do it sometime tomorrow during Pacific business hours.
I find if I do it in the morning, it's like, it'll say 2-minute callback, and it'll be somebody in the U.S. Responding to my questions, and they call you very quickly. Okay, Next up for me, now Vicky was just saying it's all a blur, and I have to say, with the way that we've been sourcing and listing lately, I'm bringing in so much new stuff that I forget who I get. I'm not as good at remembering every single item because I'm doing lots of big buys. So I can't remember. I either got this from Jen Goodell or I got it from Jessie at Yesterday's Fits. I can't remember Jen when she watches this. If she's not, I haven't seen
She was
in the chat.
was in the
Oh,
chat
okay.
earlier.
I can't remember if I got this from her, but if I didn't get it from her, I got it from Jessie. This is really cool.
Either way, you
because-
paid about $5 for it.
True. Either way. This is one of those things where when I get it, I go, oh, this is cool. I'm definitely never going to find comps on this, but because of what it is, I'm going to price it high and see what happens. And honestly, I've only had this listed. I listed this within the last month or so. So it sold pretty quickly. And this was also was part of a 3-item multi-order, but it's this really cool Soviet propaganda poster that they made into a t-shirt. It was from was a Daily Planet catalog of current events from New York. But it's a Russian Soviet Union propaganda thing. And was a 50 words for drunkenness, all in Russian.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, so it's kind of a cool graphic. So I just priced it high, and this is one of those times where it paid off, and I sold it for $89.99. And I paid like $5 for it. So,
okay.
But the thing is, I do that a lot of times, and then the thing sits there for a couple of years. So that's where it's like I'm having to rethink how I'm pricing things. But something like this, I'm still going to go for that pricing it high.
There's nothing wrong with pricing it high to start, and then you can entertain offers or see how much interest there is. If there's zero interest, then you realize, well, I'm the only one that thinks this is cool. So
yeah.
Then
but there's other things where it's like, okay, so for instance, like skiing t-shirts, which I love. I will price them high, and it's like sometimes they take forever to sell. They're not unique, they're not special. I just think they're cool. So stuff like that, I need to start like putting it up for a lower price to start with, and turn them over faster. Something like this, where it's a really unique piece. Yeah, I'm gonna price it high and see what happens.
Mm-hmm. So we have a little over 100 people watching now.
Hey,
so
what's up?
Thanks for hanging out on a Sunday afternoon. Okay, so you guys know at this point, if you've watched us at least a few times, you know I love linens, and I love picking up San Marcos and beater lac blankets.
She loves dirty old blankets.
I love dirty old blankets. So you can see this has flaws. You can see it was missing the edging all the way around one corner. It's not in perfect condition. That does not matter. If it's all about the content, and overall it was in good condition. It was just the edge that had been missing. Now, when you find the San Marcos blankets and you find them with a color, those are the ones that are going to sell for the highest price. This was actually on sale in my Etsy store. That's why it was at that price, and it wasn't a huge one. This one is actually smaller than a queen size, so it's close to the double size. The bigger they are, the more money you can get. If you happen to find them in the king size or the oversized queens, they sell for closer to $170 or so. So it sold for $104 plus $15 shipping. It is heavy. It is thick. I probably paid $7 or $8 for it, and I've had it for a few months now. This one's probably 3 or 4 months I've had it. So that's the last one I have.
Yeah,
though.
very nice.
I have no more San Marcos in my store. I have to find some.
There's Linda Dean telling everyone to smash that like button.
Linda,
are we going to see you?
I hope we're going to see you next week.
Yeah, who's going to bring the rotisserie chicken? Just kidding. We don't need your rotisserie chicken.
We don't need your chicken.
Need you.
We just need you. Yes.
All right. Next up for me, this was my biggest sale of the week, was this motorcycle jacket that I did pick up at the bins. Of course, it's very heavy, so I probably paid close to $10 for it. But just a vintage, old, beat up, worn, and I did my background remover, just removed a chunk of that. Usually I'm a little better with that. But anyway, listed it high and let it sit for a while, but I probably have had it up for a good 6 months or so. But it sold for $179.99.
I don't think you've had it for 6 months. Is this the one that smelled like smoke?
Oh yeah, probably not. So maybe, but a few
month.
month. No, more than that, a few months, because
I
I
don't
remember
think so.
having it out in the sun and stuff like that for a while. But my final solution, which worked pretty well, was we have one of our bathrooms. It's a really tiny room. It's where I do all my bleaching and stuff. I hung it up in there and used that. What's that spray called?
Odaban.
Odaban, and it says to spray it. It says to spray it for 1 second. I probably overdid it. Did a good 20 seconds. Sprayed it all over, and then shut the door and left it in there for a good 24 hours, and that seemed to do the trick. So
It was really smoky. Sometimes it is what it is. You can't get the cigarette smoke out.
Yeah, but that stuff works like a charm.
It does.
Pretty
I've
impressive.
used it on handbags and shoes and jackets.
Yeah. So when I took it out, it just smelled like old leather. So, all right, $180 though from maybe $10, and it actually wasn't too bad to ship. It ended up being like $12 to ship. So I was pretty. No, we don't have an ozone machine. We don't deal with that often enough. I don't know.
I don't know that it would be worth it. I just don't. Everything that's washable gets washed.
Yeah.
And if it's not washable, I guess the ozone machine would come in handy, but it doesn't happen often enough that we've ever had to buy
They're not
one.
that expensive though, are they?
They're
I think
really
you can
not.
get one for like $50.
Odaban or Odabon, it's right at the grocery store. It's at Walmart. It's everywhere.
Like a little spray can.
It's a little white spray can, cylindrical
white
spray
and blue.
can.
Anyway, all right. Next up for you.
So I showed this in a haul. I did grab this in Colorado. This was from the bins in Colorado. So I probably paid about $2 to $3 on this. And I showed this in a haul saying that I thought this was some type of vintage ethnic skirt. And upon doing some research, I was able to find out that it's a traditional Estonian design from Estonia. And that's the type of skirt that it is. And they're only made in this very small village. So the village of Estonia is a women's village, and everything there is done by women. And there are very few men that live in that village. It's actually almost all women, which I think that's pretty awesome. So, I just found that in doing some history. I don't really know anything about Estonia. So I picked this up and paid like $3 for it. It sold within a week, and it went international. So it sold for $104. It rolled into a sale that I had going on Etsy, and it shipped international, and the buyer
I
paid.
think you showed this last week. Because remember we did like...
Did I?
Yeah.
I may have.
I
Sorry.
that seems familiar, but it's okay. Not everybody watched last week.
Not everybody watched. So it sold fairly quickly, and it's just a beautiful skirt. I knew it was something special, and I knew it was vintage, and the construction was beautiful. These are handmade and hand woven, and I would never have known that. So, yeah, you should move there, Allison. They'd love you.
Yep. All right. My last one is a Poshmark sale. This is nothing great, but it's kind of rolling into the last part of our show and talking about pricing. You know, I've had this up for a few months. I got this at the bins, just a zip up hoodie. I had it priced originally at like $100, which was, I priced it higher than I should have. And then somebody offered me $50. And one of the things I love about Poshmark is they tell you right there how much you're going to get. And, you know, they take 20%. So I know, okay, the offer's $50. I'm going to have $40 cash in hand plus a shipping label. I paid like $3 for it. Like, come on. That's an easy decision to make.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need to sit around and wait for it to come in. So I was very happy to finally get rid of this. It's bulky. It takes up more space than like a t-shirt does. So let's just get it out of here.
Oh, so Sandy's been to Estonia. Interesting.
Oh. So anyway, yeah, it's the 7th now. We both have been doing our daily listings. Somebody was, I don't remember who was it said, but I've been doing it since the 12th of November. So today is the 56th day in a row, 7 days a week, even when we were on our cruise, that I've had 10 listings go live in my eBay. So that means every week I have 70 new listings going up. And I had said to take note of how many I had sold this last week. It was 34 items. I need to be doing better than that. I need to be selling more, like what Vicky's got going on, where she's having a hard time keeping her listings above a certain number.
I'm not having a hard time.
No, but
Let's
you know
be
what I
fair.
mean.
I have almost 5,000 listings.
I get it.
There's no.
I'm saying, I don't mean it like that. I mean that it's like your inventory numbers are going down because you're selling a lot. I need to get there, and part of that is about my pricing. Now that, like, because of the way I'm doing it now, I have to constantly be sourcing, bringing in new stuff, and I have the sources to do that between yesterday's fits and going to thrift stores and going to the bins and doing our thrifting trips. We have another one coming up that's going to be in April. I need to be selling stuff at a faster rate. And part of that is not being so precious. Part of that, and I have been actively thinking like, oh, normally I used to be like, I would put this up for 70. I'm going to put it up for 48 instead. I would usually send an offer for 50. I'm going to go down to 40, or I'm going to go down to 30, or I've had this for a while. I'm going to go for a super low offer. So like I have a few things I'm going to be shipping tomorrow that went for $30. I used to not want to go that low. But that's silly. Like when I have a process where I can do things very quickly and I'm only paying $1,
right?
I just need to ship it unless it's something super special, but not I used to be in the mindset of like, it's all special. It's all blah, blah, blah. But it's like, it's different than it used to be, right?
We used to also list and be part of the list it and forget it mentality. I think that a lot of us that have been listing or selling for a long time realize that, oh, eventually everything sells. Eventually you'll find your buyer. And that's not wrong. However, buyer habits and buyer mentality has changed in the last couple of years, specifically, more so than I've ever seen in my many years selling. So we have to change. So we have to change as sellers in how we present our stuff, in how we price our things, and how we have to be more aggressive in our pricing. Now, one of the things that we've been learning learning through our friend Alexis and being in tech and sports group that we pay for, part of it is like learning more about sell-through rates. Because we both sell vintage primarily, sell-through rates is not something that we can calculate in the same manner that you can if you're selling something that is a commodity that is trackable, right? If you have an Old Navy Rockstar pair of jeans in size 9, you know what your sell-through rate is, and you're going to be able to tell what yours is, what everyone's is, and what your buy price should be, and what you can expect to sell something for. It doesn't quite work the same for vintage items. Vintage items, as we know, are long tail. So in order to be a consistent seller of vintage items, you need to have a large inventory, and you need to be constantly turning that inventory. Now, you may be turning stuff that's 6 months to a year old at any given time, and you may sell stuff right away, like that Estonian skirt, but you need to have enough inventory that those long tail items are constantly turning and constantly selling. So I've been actually doing the listing anywhere from 10 to 20 new items a day, minimum 10 to 12 new items a day, and reworking my old listings. I've been doing it since the last week of October, and I have definitely seen an increase in traffic. This week, not so much. I will say the last 4 or 5 days have been very, very, very slow. But that's more buyer related and the time of the year than me, So you have to look at your business as a whole picture. If you are looking to just sell for 1 week, then that 1 week really sucks. You should probably get the hell out. But if you're looking to sell long term, or you're looking to sell for, full time, then you have to look at more of your overall picture. Will the month end up shaking out well? I'm sure it will. Will the year end up shaking out well? I'm sure it will. And then you adjust your processes accordingly. So I'm just really sticking to the selling. I'm not picking up quite as many of the really low priced items that I would normally pick up. I'm like, it's only 50 cents. I'm going to get it if I sell it for 15. It's not necessarily worth my time. And I realize that. So I'm being a little bit better. I actually have I have a phone call with someone who is a vintage clothing seller that I respect a great deal, actually. And I don't say that lightly, but she's someone that I've known and have followed for years. And she knows her stuff. She's getting out of the reselling business. And I'm going to be doing a phone call with her on Tuesday, and I might be buying the remainder of her inventory. I'm excited about that because none of it is going to be mediocre junk.
Yeah. Well, I just know that, back in 2016, fourth quarter, December of 2016, I had finally gotten my inventory up to 1,000 listings. And that December, I was only selling on eBay, and I did $8,500 gross. This December, I did 4,000 gross on eBay. Now, total, it was still under that 8,500, and that's with 3,000 listings on eBay and on 5 other platforms. Like that tells me it is a totally different game. And from that year in 2016, every year I went up, 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 up. 2020 way up, and then it's been downhill since. And this last year was really bad, and a lot of that had to do with my own way of doing things and needing to change how I do things consistently. But I need to do more turnover. And it's harder to calculate like sell through and things like that when you're doing one of a kind vintage pieces. But I do know, like I was saying, I'm sticking to 10 items a day. I'm not going above it. Anything over that, I bank it. So 10 items a day means 70 listings a week. I do not want to do 70 listings a week and only selling 34 items. I need to do better than that. Right now, I'm at 2,900 listings, which for a couple of years, I was right around 2,200, 2,300. So when I hit 24, that was the most I'd ever done. Then I hit 25, then I hit 26, then I hit 27, and I just hit 29. My goal, I want to get to about 3,000 in my inventory, but then I want to start like getting to where I'm selling as much as I am listing, at least. And so right now I'm going to say my goal is I want to get to, and I don't know when this is going to happen, but a lot of it's going to have to do with how I'm pricing things. I want to get to where, let's get to 50 first. I want to hit 50 sales in a week. So it's still going to be less than what I'm listing, but let's hit 50 because 34, I only sold half the number of items that I listed. And I can't indefinitely keep building, building, building. I need to be selling stuff faster.
Right.
I need to be churning through it. I need to be bringing in more money.
Right.
So I'm going to do that, like I said, by listing things for like lower prices than what my instinct is because I want to get the most. But it's like if I'm not selling it, I'm not selling it.
I still list them high, but I send aggressive offers.
Yeah. Well,
So-
and it's going to be a combination of those two things. But I need to stop. I don't need to go for crazy high on every single thing. Like,
So I wanted to address what Michelle says there. She's been really diligent about listing. Got a call to do an estate clear out for someone, but you're afraid about falling behind. Okay, so between now and when you have to do that estate clear out, as you're listing every day, I don't know what your number is, 5 things, 10 things, whatever it may be, take the 10 things, list 2 more, and put them in your bank.
yep.
Put it as a draft and leave it there. Don't make it live. Leave it there so that you're building up a bank. And then the days that you are doing, and this is a tech and sports thing, and it's very elementary. I don't know why the hell we don't all know how to do this, but clearly I needed to hear it drilled at me from someone else too.
Seriously.
But basically put the stuff in your draft bank, and then when you have a day that you're not going to be able to list, you schedule those listings or make them live. It takes 15 minutes when they're in your draft bank, not even 5 minutes, to launch 10 listings. And that's something that you can do on those mornings when you're doing an estate sale or you're working the estate sale. I've actually gotten to the point where Saturday is my day off. Saturday I may source, but I don't like to list. I don't like to ship. I don't want to do work on a Saturday. Sourcing I don't consider work because it's fun for me. So what I've been doing is putting my stuff into the draft bank, and then I schedule 12 listings to go live on Saturday morning, so I don't have to look at my computer.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I'm doing the 10 a day, and right now I have 48 listings banked. I want to get to where I consistently have like 150 listings banked. And so that way, but the way it's working is it's like I can take 3 days off from listing and I can focus on like either sourcing or processing or taking pictures, and I don't have to actively be adding listings because I already have them banked, and it makes it so much easier. Like I said, I'm on day 56, and so I want to keep doing that. So I'm at 10 right now. I've been doing that for a while to see like how sustainable it is for me to be bringing in the sourcing and bringing in the items that I need. Pretty soon here, I think I'm going to move up to 12 because you really want to make sure that you're set with those numbers before you move up those numbers. I don't ever want to be a 20, 30, 40 listings a day person. That's just not what my goal is. But I want to move up to 12 and see how that sits for a while. But seriously, like, the whole idea of banking and keeping consistent, it does make a difference because it is pushing me to where I am doing everything more consistently, but it also is putting us in a position where we could be like today, be like, hey, let's take the next 3 days off to go do blah, blah, blah. And I know that I have those listings already in place.
And it worked for us. So our friend Dominique Collins came and stayed with us for a couple of days over the new year. And we were able to get up and get our shipping done early in the morning because she's on vacation. She can sleep in a little bit, right? So she'd sleep in and we'd get up and we did our shipping and made our 10 listings live, and then spent the day doing fun stuff with her. So and not feeling like you're not working, because you're getting the work done. So for me, it actually was the best thing ever that I had already implemented this process when I was sick over these last few weeks, because when I tell you I was sick, I was out, down for the count. And I could have had my business gone to shit for 2 weeks. And instead I'd be getting up between 5 and 6 in the morning, which is my normal. I would get up, I would ship my items, I would get my 10 to 15 new items listed. Sometimes it was just stuff that I had ended and reworked and relisted. Didn't matter, but it happened every single day. And I was done with my work day by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning and ready to go back to bed, which I needed because I was so sick.
Yeah.
So had I not had this process already set in place, I would have gone days without getting anything done. And we all know that that eBay specifically is a hungry bitch. Like, you need to feed that algorithm. You need to be constantly listing new product in order for your items to be seen well in search. Now, you don't necessarily have to have 4,000 items in your listings. You don't even have to have 1,000 items. The goal truly is to have a very high sell-through rate and have a lower inventory and sell more than you list. That's everybody's goal.
Right.
That is just not always possible depending on what niche you're in. And that's okay too. You're going to find what works for you. There is no one right way to do this business, but I am learning better ways to tweak my business. If I were selling one thing I think I would be really bored. But some people can niche down, like Alexis has niche down to selling only shoes. There are plenty of people that can niche down to only one thing that they find they do well. Me, I really like the thrill of the hunt too much. I really like the type of items that I sell and I buy and I rescue from the landfill. So for me, finding just one thing to sell would be really boring for me. And I think Katie feels the same way.
Well, yeah, and I love like the vintage graphic stuff. So like the t-shirts and sweatshirts, like that stuff is interesting to me and exciting to me. So I couldn't do something like just shoes, but everybody operates in a different way. And so I think for me, like as far as my goals moving forward for the next week, it's just going to be, I'm going to continue that 10 listings a day. I'm going to continue doing all of that stuff. A little bit more long term, I want to get to where I'm doing 12 listings a day, but I want to get to where my bank is at 100 or more consistently. Because I want to make sure that I can do that and maintain it, because that's really important. I don't want to get to where I'm doing too much. And then the other thing is my first step is I want to hit where I'm selling 50 items in a week, not 34 while listing double that. I want to get to where I'm doing 50, and I'm going to do that by taking lower offers, sending lower offers, and listing things at a lower price point, because it doesn't make any sense to be listing so high to where it's not selling.
It's fair.
What about you? What's your goal for the next week and moving forward?
So, my goal is always to source 75 new clothing items each week for my lister, who is still learning. So I did that actually over this weekend, and I'm washing and laundering and getting everything prepped and ready to get to her at the end of this week. So 75 she will do drafts on, and then I do all the hard goods and shoes and linens and things like that. I probably have about 50 hard goods and shoes items that I need to do. So I'm listing a minimum of 100 new items a week. Now, I only sold 50 this week, so that's not great. But prior to this week, I was selling 70 items a week or so.
Yeah.
Now, it's not going to balance, but that's a pretty good sell-through rate. If you look at it based on number listed and numbers sold,
yeah,
that's the way that I have to look at it. I can't look at sell-through rate on individual items necessarily, or individual weeks or months or whatever, but I'm going number for number. So if I list 100 items, I'd like to really sell 70. I'd like to sell 100, but 70 to 75, if I list 100 fresh new items, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, we just have to look at the overall thing, because the reality is, with us, when we do this show, and we see ourselves as leaders in the community, but we don't think that like we know everything, because clearly we don't. But I think as leaders,
I know everything. I don't know about you, but whatever.
But I think as leaders in the community, in a business setting, I think it would be disingenuous of us to continue on like this with our numbers declining year over year, and then just keep doing the same thing and keep telling other people to do the same thing. And we're never telling you, here's what you need to do and here's how to do it. We just kind of give our advice or our thoughts on it as experienced sellers.
And here's how we do it.
But because based on how we've been performing, like, we need to be changing. We need to be doing things differently, because clearly what we've done in the past is not working in the same way that it was. And so
you can't just list it and forget it. You can't just cross post and forget it and think that everything's going to be great. The first year or so that we started cross posting and on other platforms, it was pure profit. Everything was just selling on other platforms, and that was adding to the bottom line. At this point, cross-posting is just making up for the lack of sales on eBay, and that's been the case for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
And that's not just us. That's a lot of people. You're selling, you're doing well on other additional platforms, and as Crystal's in the chat there, I know she had said that she was real close to her Poshmark being the same neck and neck with her eBay.
Yeah.
So it is no longer in addition to, it is to make up the difference and the losses, because eBay is a declining platform. It just is. Is it going anywhere?
Yeah.
No, they're not going anywhere, but they have lost their market share, and it is an older platform, and it is older buyers and older sellers.
But at the same time, there's other sellers, old sellers, new sellers, who are thriving, who are doing better, who are increasing their sales, who are, we're in this Facebook group, and we're seeing other people posting their numbers of like this last year compared to the year before. And so we see
it can be done. You can still increase.
It's just different. It's harder. It's, it's a different thing. It's a different animal now. And in order to be able to be successful, you have to acknowledge that. And then you have to freaking do something about it. And so that's what we're doing.
Yeah, and you can't be stagnant in this business. You have to know how to pivot and change and work with the times. Am I ever going to be that person that is, a TikTok seller or constantly creating reels and content on Instagram? The chances are very slim that I will ever do that. I'll never say never, but the chances are very slim that that's ever going to be me, because that's just not my comfort level. However, I can't just list things on eBay and expect to be making 100,000 plus a year and that's it, because it's not the same animal, at least not with what I'm selling.
Yeah.
So it's important to me important to Katy as well, to be transparent and to help, and to talk about what things are working for us and what things aren't, and take from that what you will. And that's what I tell people about being in Tech's group. And now, mind you, again, he's never seen the show. He doesn't know me. He doesn't know Katy. This is no endorsement in that regard. But it is a group that I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot from that group. I don't even listen to the podcasts. I'm terrible. There's so much information there. I don't even listen to it. No. But there's, calls I don't do any of the calls. But just being in the group and having the accountability and hearing from other people and seeing other people, you pick and choose what things work for you, what things you are able to and want to implement in your business, and just see the changes from there. Some people can go all in and make all the changes and follow someone else's model to a T. And I know if you do that, you will be successful, because I've watched people do it and follow that model. It's just not the model for me.
And that goes back to maintaining focus and motivation, like being able to see like other people being super, like to be honest, I don't have a problem with motivation. Like I've always said, like, I don't need to join certain groups. I don't need to be signed up for this accountability thing, blah, 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 because I don't have a problem with motivation. It's true. I don't. I work really hard. I work more hours than I probably should, and I still want to work more. But I needed to redirect that motivation and kind of change and shape how I'm motivated and where I'm putting my time and kind of the balance of tasks. And I think that it's going to work. I hope it's going to work, and we're going to see, and you guys are going to be here to watch it happen.
Because obviously we're going to share our journey, and we share the things that work and we talk about the things that don't work. You guys have seen enough of us complaining and lamenting the declining sales over the last 2 years.
And we did it too long. We did it too freaking long, you guys.
We did it too long. So we are, very real. We both work very hard. I think you guys know that, but we also play really hard. And last year we did a lot of traveling and we took a lot of time off, and that absolutely killed our businesses. Now, will we be doing the same amount of traveling this year? Probably. Maybe. Probably close to it. However, we are going to put different processes in place so that our businesses and our sales do not suffer in the same way that they did last year.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, look, it's only 6 minutes after 3. So
I know.
We actually were able to contain this mostly into an hour or so. Thank you guys so much for coming and hanging out with us and listening to us yap. I see we've got 114 people still hanging out here watching live, so we appreciate you taking the time, and we hope that this helps you and that you're able to kind of implement maybe some changes here. Who knows? Maybe what you're doing is already working for you, but if it's not...
Maybe you've already implemented these changes.
And if it's not, think about what you can do differently in 2024 to get what it is that you are hoping to get out of your businesses. And like I said earlier, we've got a couple of haul videos coming out this week, so be on the lookout for those. The one will be out on Tuesday and the other will be out on Thursday. You can see some of the cool stuff that we got this week, because we had a freaking amazing sourcing weekend.
We did. We both did.
That's in a long time here in Vegas. It's easy to go travel somewhere else and knock it out of the park, but it's nice every once in a while to get to have a good home sourcing weekend. So
yeah, so a lot of what we do, and I just saw the fast nickels, we are definitely more slow dime than fast nickel sellers, and probably always will be, but we're trying to find a medium thing there.
Slow dime, I think we were at like turtle's pace quarter. and it wasn't working for us, guys, overall.
So we're going to try, we've been trying now for a few months, and we're going to continue to try to mix things up a little bit. For those of you that are local, just a reminder that we are doing our first meetup of the year, in-person meetup for our Las Vegas locals, and some of our California people come. And I saw Jill in the chat. Hopefully, Jill, I would love to see you and hubby. But it is next Saturday. It is in the afternoon, and it is our White Elephant party, which tends to be our favorite one of everyone. I don't consistently do a meetup every month, but I probably do 5 or 6 a year, and this is the best attended and the most enjoyed one. We do our White Elephant gift exchange, We have a little,
Potluck.
and we also talk about and vocalize our goals for the year. Everyone will go around there and talk about what their goals are for the year with their businesses or personally, whatever you want to share. And it's really nice to speak that stuff out into the world and find, having people hold you accountable. But also, if you're a local seller and you have goals that you're trying to meet and you think that you need some help or an accountability partner, it's great to be at a meetup and look at that person and be like, I can help you with that, and find that person to help you.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely.
Linda's bringing chicken.
Yeah.
She brings the Costco rotisserie chicken. I'm going to tell you something. We all love that Costco chicken, right?
The first time I was like, who brings a rotisserie chicken? And then I was like, that's the best idea ever, because who doesn't love a good Costco rotisserie chicken?
Uh-huh.
It's delicious. All right, guys. Thank you so much. And we will see you later. Enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Bye, guys.
Bye.